guys, it's Macey. Welcome back to the podcast. So for this week's episode, I'm going to be talking about books again because I figured why not. The majority of the episodes on this podcast revolve around books, and I've been especially obsessed with reading lately. So in this week's episode, I'm going to be sharing some books that I would literally die to read for the first time again. And I am very picky with these type of books. I mean, quite literally, these books were the ones that kept me up all night. I have obsessed over them from day one. They're everything to me. I'm not very picky with these, so I only have a few. But, when I recommend these, you guys better go read them, because I mean that they are good, okay? Okay. So, yeah, these books, amazing. I can't wait to talk about them. And I feel like that's all I need to say for the intro. I don't know. I feel like I should start adding something in the intro, because I feel like my episodes go by really fast, but I also don't like podcasters that, make an intro so long. They just talk about everything but the subject they're supposed to talk about. I'm all for going off topic every once in a while. I do it all the time. But when it's the whole entire episode, I don't know. Maybe I'll figure something out. But let's get straight into it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to be recommending is a trilogy, and it also has a sequel, soon-to-be trilogy. So what that is the Caraval trilogy. I don't know if I'm saying that, by the way. I've heard a lot of people pronounce it differently, but I'm going to say Caraval, by Stephanie Garber. So she has the first trilogy. The first book is Caraval, then the second is Legendary, and the third is Finale. And then she has a sequel. It's a duology right now, but it starts off with Once Upon a Broken Heart, and then Ballad of Never After, and then her third and final book for that trilogy is coming out this year, I think, or maybe it's next year. Don't remember. That was a lot. Okay, to summarize first. So Caraval is basically about these two sisters. It takes place in this amazing fantasy world, but basically there's this quote-unquote carnival type thing that happens every once in a while, and it's just a game. If you get tickets, you can go through this magical adventure, but the main thing you have to remember is it's just a game, so everything that happens in it isn't real. And it's created by this man named Legend. There are a lot of things that, a lot of mysteries that revolve around this man, hence his name Legend. So the two sisters, Scarlet and Tella, I think is her name. Sorry, I haven't read this in a little bit. So Scarlet has always wanted to attend Caraval, but her father has always been really strict. And this year, they finally get tickets. I'm not going to spoil anything. I don't remember how they get tickets, but basically, she loses Tella, and she has to go on this journey with this man named Julian. Her and Julian go through this adventure of Caraval, and they try to find her sister. And in the process, her and Julian kind of fall in love. And again, their relationship is one of the cutest I have ever read in books. But this trilogy was a ride. I can't go much more into that because the trilogy just doesn't revolve around Caraval at all. It goes into a lot more, but I can't tell you guys what that is without spoiling it. So, oh my gosh. But the first book, though, I stayed up all night reading this book. I was obsessed. I could not stop reading, and I could not stop thinking about it, days after, weeks after. And the sequel and the finale are just as good. And like I said, it definitely broadens into different topics. And then that kind of moves forward into her sequel trilogy that goes into a different character, but I don't know how to explain who he is, again, without spoiling. And the love story in this trilogy is also really, really good. I love it. And I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of loving the sequel trilogy more than the original, which is insane. That never happens. But if not, they're just equally as good. I highly recommend them. These books were popular on TikTok. I think the sequel trilogy is more popular on TikTok right now. But I could not stop talking about these books. When I say you need to read them, I mean it. Go read them. You will not be sorry. I know you'll love them because they're amazing. So yeah, if you're a fan of romance, if you're a fan of like fantasy. And I've mentioned before, I'm not a huge fan of like hardcore fantasy because it makes me confused. Like, I couldn't read Six of Crows. I'm definitely gonna try it again, okay? Don't come at me just yet. I'm gonna try it again, but I couldn't read it because I couldn't get into like the fantasy world. So if you're worried about that, I mean, it's still really good fantasy, but it's not like too much. And it's just such a beautiful, amazing atmosphere. It's insane. Like, can't obsess over it enough. But we're gonna move on to the next one. Okay, so the next series I'm gonna recommend is the Renegades Trilogy by Marissa Meyer, and I've expressed my obsession with Marissa Meyer before. She's one of my favorite authors. So the Renegades Trilogy is kind of a dystopian, not sci-fi. I don't know how to explain. It's more like dystopian, kind of fiction, if you're into that. It's basically about this world where people have, I wouldn't say like powers, I can't remember what they call them, gifts, I think, but anyways, they're called prodigies, and like these powers, I'm just gonna call them that, range from like everything. Like, I think there's a character who I'm trying to think, can like never goes to sleep. There's a character who, like, his sketches can turn into, like, reality. Like, he can draw something and that comes into life. There's, like, ones who go invisible, ones that are, like, bulletproof. Like, the list goes on. There's, like, so many. It was insane. They're called prodigies. And there's this unit that they call the Renegades. And they're basically the Avengers, basically. They're just, like, this government. I guess that's where they differ from the Avengers, but it's like this government that has a bunch of prodigies that they call renegades that save, like, they're basically police officers with powers, I guess. And there's a lot of them. There's like units and stuff. And then there's also this other side who are called the anarchists, and they fight against them. I don't know really how to explain this, but there's this girl, her name's Nova. She is on the anarchist side, and she goes undercover as a renegade, and it kind of just, the first book kind of revolves around that, and it goes from there, and that's all I can really say without spoiling, but it's really, really good. There is romance in it. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but you guys will probably like it. The characters are really likable. It's really captivating. Like, I feel like there's a lot of plot twists. The only issue I think I would have is the first book is really slow. So if you read the first book and you're not into it, just hold on. Because, I mean, for me, the first book when I first read it was pretty good. But rereading it, I was like, okay, this isn't as good as I remember it being. But the second book, oh my gosh, sorry. I just burped. The second book definitely picks up. And then the third book, oh my gosh. The third book is the best book I've read in a long time. I recently reread it, and I, like, cried a few times. There were so many plot twists. It was a ride, and it was amazing. And I really, really recommend it. Like, I could not recommend this trilogy enough. The first thing that drew me in was the cover art, because it's beautiful. But, oh my gosh. It's amazing. Definitely go read. I know for a fact you'll love it. If you love, like, action, not necessarily like superhero type of thing, I don't know, I feel like you would really, really like this book. Books. It's a trilogy, sorry. There's also this insane plot twist at the end of the third book that I'm still not over. I think about it daily, and I read this, like, 2 years ago, so that really says a lot. Literally, just read it alone for that plot twist, because, oh my gosh, it's insane. Anyway, we're moving on. Okay, the next thing I'm going to be recommending is something I recommend a lot, the Keepable Cities series by Shannon Messenger. Sorry, I forgot her name for a minute. Okay. Keepable Cities is by far the most underrated series I have ever read. I feel like it's really sad because it's like half middle grade, half young adult. I don't really know how to explain this. It's like Harry Potter if you think about it, because like if you go to a bookstore, you'll find Harry Potter in young adult and the children's section. There's really, like, I feel like it could be read by all ages, but because it's targeted more towards middle grade, kind of like Percy Jackson, I feel like a lot of people don't read it, which is so sad. Like, Keepable Cities deserves to be read by the world. It's literally the next Harry Potter. Like, I'm not even kidding. It's so slept on. But I think the reason why most people don't read it is because the cover art the cover art is really childish. I'm not a huge fan of, like, it fits with the book, but I feel like a lot of people are turned away by that. But please don't judge a book by its cover, okay? I originally didn't want to read it either because I saw the cover and I was like, I'm out. Doesn't seem that good. But I read it and I have been obsessed ever since. I feel like a lot of people who talk about, like, Harry Potter being their childhood, it was a little bit for me. I read it when I was in, like, 5th grade and have been obsessed with it ever since. But Keepable Cities is, like, my Harry Potter. Like, it's, like, I'm obsessed. And she still has new books coming out. Her last book is coming out, I think, either this year or next year. Actually, I think it's next year. I'm not 100% sure on that. But, oh my gosh. She has... One sec. I have a bookshelf. She has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 books out right now. With her 11th book coming out soon. So, okay. Anyway, I need to stop rambling and tell you guys what it's about. So it's basically about this young girl who she's in a human, I don't even know why I started with that. That was such a bad start. It's about this young girl named Sophie, and she can hear people's thoughts. And this started when she was, like, really young. I think she got in an accident, I think she, like, it was a bike accident or something, and she hit her head really hard. But ever since then, she's been able to hear people's thoughts, and it hurts her head really bad, like. Anyway, so she's on a field trip one day, and she finds this boy, and he just, like, she feels like he's kind of different, but anyway, because she doesn't recognize him. When a bunch of, like, kindergartners come through, she gets an insane, like, telepathic burst, I guess, in her head. It makes her, like, flinch because of how painful, I'm so bad at this, because of how painful it was, and she looks over and the boy flinches as well. So then she's like, oh, okay, he can hear thoughts too. So she's like, oh my gosh, like, how did this happen? Anyway, so this isn't spoiling, by the way, this is on the book jacket. He tells her that she is an elf, and I don't want you to think, I'm having deja vu. I've summarized this before on this podcast, I think, even. Anyway, he tells her that she's an elf. They don't have pointy ears, okay? Don't think of, like, Christmas elves. That's what I did at first too. I can't really explain the way that elves look and act in this series because it's so... the world building is crazy. You would have to read the series for that. So he takes her to the elven world, and it's kind of like Harry Potter in this way. She gets accepted into this world, and she has to learn her way through everything, and, like, they figure out there's this mysterious, like, renegade group, kind of, that it's I don't want to say it's like a rip-off Harry Potter, because it's definitely not, but it kind of follows the same thing as Harry Potter, but it's so interesting. And there is really good romance in this series. I mean, it's not like the main focus, but I can't even put into words like how much I love the series. You need to go read it. Don't get turned away because of the cover art, okay? Just try it. The first book is definitely, like, one of my favorites because it's pretty, like, it sets up the series in a way. It kind of just shows her, like, her way around the world, kind of explains a little bit, meeting new characters. One of the best characters ever created, Keith Sensen. You guys are going to simp so hard for this man, okay? You just need to read this series. He's amazing. Just go read it. Really, 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 really good. And I cry every time in the third book. So I don't want to hear anyone say this is a childish series. I can't even talk. Series. Because it's not. I've heard that a lot. When I first tried getting my sister to read it, she said it looked dumb and kiddish. So offensive. Please go read it, okay? Okay, moving on. Oh my gosh, I just realized, like, how long this episode's gonna be. I didn't even pick that mini series, but I just ramble so much about these that it's gonna, I feel like it's gonna be pretty long. Anyway, next series I recommend is The Hunger Games. I'm not gonna go too much over this one because I feel like a lot of people have already read it, but for those of you who haven't, please do. I don't want to hear you say that it's, like, overrated, like, its days are gone, you know, people are already obsessed over it, let's move on. No, Hunger Games is still a national treasure, and you need to go read it. pretty sure you guys have seen the movies, know what it's about, so again, I'm not gonna go over it. But please go read it. This book was like a huge part of my childhood, and I still reread it to this day. So anyway, moving on. I don't know, I kind of forgot to mention, I'm gonna be sprinkling in some like pretty well-known series in this episode, because I don't want to just gloss over them just because they're more popular, because I feel like a lot of people still haven't read them because of that fact. So we're moving on. Anyway, okay, the next thing I'm going to be recommending is I tried picking different kind of genres for this episode, not just sticking to one. So for like my romance, like rom-com type genre, I'm picking Tweet Cute by Emma Lord. This book is okay. I want to clarify that before reading this book, I was never a huge fan of reading romance at all. Like, it wasn't my thing. I don't know, I just wasn't really in love with anything I ever read. But Tweet Cute, oh my gosh, this book made me go into, like, the romance genre of reading. And that's saying something. If a non-romance reader got hooked by this book, you know it's good, okay? Emma Lord is one of my favorite authors. She has written some of the best, like, romantic romance books. Tweet Cute being her best, though. Oh my gosh, this book is so good. The humor on point. The characters on point. The romance, so cute. So it's basically about this girl who helps, like, run the social media aspect of her mom's company. It's a burger place, if I remember right. And it's, like, a huge chain. So they're pretty big. So she runs like the Twitter and Instagram part of that. And then this boy, he helps work at his family's like grilled cheese, I think is what it is, restaurant. It's not as big as, okay, the main girl's name is Pepper. It's not as big as Pepper's family's company. It's just like a small town owned restaurant. But he finally convinces his parents to let him run the social media for the company so he can help build marketing, because there hasn't been as many people coming in. His name is Jack, by the way, I believe. Yes, it is. Because their ship name is Pepper Jack. How cute is that? Like, I'm sorry, I'll obsess over that forever. Anyway, so they basically go into like this heated battle on social media, and people start shipping them over the internet. And in real life, they slowly... It's honestly like rivals to lovers. They don't like each other at first at all. So that's another aspect I really loved. Ugh, again, so funny, so cute. I really, 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 really recommend it. I loved this book so much. And again, one thing I really like about Emma Lord's writing style is I feel like she not only writes really good romance, she also has really great subplots. Like, she recently, this isn't part of the list, I just thought I'd share. She recently came out with her newest book called Begin Again. And the romance was not only cute, but like it tackled a lot of issues in the subplots, friendship, finding like a new place, like once you're like adulting, I guess, basically, just like staying true to yourself. I don't know, it sounds really cheesy, but that book was so good. Not as good as Tweet Cute, but really good. Anyways, moving on from that, the last three, I have 3 left. So next is kind of in the crime murder mystery genre, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. That trilogy, so good. I could not stop reading. I feel like, I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of murder mystery books. Like, I have to read them in not all in one go. I have to like read one series and then read cuter, fluffier stuff, because I can't read just straight murder mystery and thrillers forever. It makes me depressed. So this one, though, had not only like a cute romance that wasn't the overall plot of the book. I hate when murder mystery books have romance like overtake the main plot. It's so annoying and it frustrates me. But this book did such a good job at having a really cute relationship while also balancing it with like heavier topics. And again, the main character Pip, really, really, really likable. She was such a fun character. And then I don't remember a lot of their names, but anyway. Just really good. It, like, lots of plot twists. I was captivated. I could not stop reading. And I cannot preface this enough. Whenever I read murder mysteries, I can usually spot the killer, like, within a few chapters of the book. I'm just really good that way, I guess. I don't know. I'm just kidding. It's kind of annoying, honestly, how I can, like, guess someone that fast and it just isn't as fun. But with A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, I did not guess the murder that fast. I didn't at all. I think the only time I got it right was the second book, and I guessed it, like, literally, like, a chapter or two before it was revealed. So, that was insane. I definitely recommend it. I think you'll really, really love it. But the last two I have, so I'm not gonna stop recommending, or I guess I don't even have two left. Sorry, one. I miscounted. I have one left. And it is another series by Marissa Meyer called Lunar Chronicles. And this series got me back into reading again. I'm not even kidding. Back in 7th grade, I hit a really bad reading slump, and I had not read at all that entire year, which is insane because I am a huge reader, and that year I just was not reading anything. But 8th grade started, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get back into reading. And this was before Keepable Cities. I read Keepable Cities after this, but I picked up Lunar Chronicles because everyone was talking about how good it was, and it was insane. Like, this series will always be special in my heart, but it has 4 books, and each one is kind of a retelling. It's a sci-fi retelling of fairy tales. So the first one is called Cinder, and it's a sci-fi retelling of Cinderella, and then that kind of leads into the second book, which is called Scarlet, and that one's for Red Riding Hood, and then Cress, which is Rapunzel, aka the best book in the series. Cress is insane. I love that book. And the last one is Winter, which is Snow White. And, oh my gosh, these not only had such cute romantic relationships, I'm not even kidding when I say all my OTPs are from the series. Like, especially in Cress, that romance is, why can I not talk? The romance in that book is insane. It is so cute. I'm obsessed. And just, like, great characters. It's kind of like Found Family, I guess. Yeah, I guess, like, they form their own little crew. Just, oh my gosh. And there's, like, really good main characters, lots of girl bosses, and I cannot talk about the series enough. It's such, like, Marissa Meyer does such a good job at creating this whole new world. See what I did there? It's amazing, honestly, and I cannot stop reading. I've reread the series so many times, and just go read it. I'm not a huge fan of the cover art. It's okay. I really wish she wouldn't have changed it from, like, what she had originally, but that's not the point. Go read it right now. You will not regret it. Okay, so I apologize for this episode being really messy. I feel like all mine are, but this one just felt especially really rambly. I feel like I rambled a lot, but again, I'm talking about books that, like, I'm obsessed with, so I guess that's bound to happen. So I hope you guys got some new recommendations. I know I tend to recommend, like, the same books every time, but I cannot stop recommending these ones enough. Please go read them. Please, please, please. I know you will not regret it. And I hope I got, like, I tried getting everything, like, that people would like. I tried ranging, not just staying to one genre. Like, I did murder mystery, I did sci-fi, fantasy, romance. I tried to encapsulate all of that. So I hope that I did well with that. But again, these books are, like, not even kidding, I would die to read for the first time again. So I highly recommend them. Thanks so much for listening, and I cannot wait to see you guys next week.